Is Ubisoft actually making something good? And is the Steam machine real? And what are Nintendo's magic sticks? Welcome back to 128KB News. This is your quick bit of gaming news where we catch up in the world of gaming this week in this short news-like video. And yes, by now you've realised this is neither short nor news-like. And if you do have the attention span of a goldfish and you're just here for the headlines, just for the main story, well, I've chaptered the video just for you. Yes, you lazy person. You can click wherever you like on that chapter, find the story you like, and then you don't have to look at my face so much. And let's face it, that's a win-win. And let's start with the first story. That's usually the best place to start, and that is, of course, Astro Bot. Ooh, yes, one of my favourite PlayStation games. It is, actually. That's not me being stupid. But that gets another new free DLC. Now, this is awesome to see how well supported this fantastic PlayStation game has been. It's a breath of fresh air to see PlayStation and the publishers and everyone else really putting their weight behind supporting what really is a fantastic game and what we want more and more from PlayStation in the future. Now, of course, last month we saw the first DLC from Astro Bot, which saw 10 new bots that you could rescue inside the game and 5 new speed running levels, a whole new game mode there. That was fantastic to see. And now a whole month on, we've seen on December the 12th, yes, that's when this video comes out, it is today, an entire new level which you can play inside Astro Bot called the Winter Wander. Awesome to see. So if you're in the future, of course, this is being released today, December the 12th, so this is obviously the past for you, and maybe you could let me know how Christmas goes if you're in the future too. But in general, I'm just excited to see Astro Bot being supported so well. It's great to see, and of course, this is what we want more of from PlayStation, more awesome single-player games that are just great adventures to jump into, none of this live service nonsense, no more Concords, please, PlayStation, although, you know, they're genuinely quite funny. And from one quite funny thing to the next, and that's Ubisoft. The source of all of my comedy in these videos is Ubisoft and the hot mess that they continue to make all the time. But are Ubisoft actually going to redeem themselves? Dun, dun, dun. If so, that is the end of all the funny segments in these videos, and I'll just have to go to doing the boring news, maybe in a suit and tie and with a desk in front of me or something. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Anyway, what I am here to talk about is the gameplay and combat information that has been released about the new Assassin's Creed game, which is coming in February. It looks kind of amazing. And I'm going to put a question mark there because I'm genuinely quite surprised. Ubisoft have released a whole blog deep diving into the combat mechanics of the Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is coming out next year, and also footage, gameplay video footage associated to each combat mechanic, showing us what we should expect now in this much delayed and talked about game. Now, obviously, this game is so important for Ubisoft. They've put so much weight on themselves for this by firstly delaying by saying it's not ready enough, and then also all the execs coming out and really weighing into it, talking about how players now just want great polished experiences from day one. Yes, we do, especially when we're paying over £100 for games, Ubisoft. And Ubisoft have had a series of hot messes that have made games that aren't quite finished day one, that are full of bugs. Star Wars Outlaws, most recently, of course. So there's a lot of pressure on them for this new Assassin's Creed game. So actually, it's kind of exciting to see this footage from the gameplay coming out and it actually looking really good. Now, I don't want to get too excited because I know I'm easily excited by new and shiny things, but genuinely this actually looks good, and that's kind of surprising me because I was fully expecting the new Assassin's Creed game to be the final nail in the coffin for Ubisoft, but it seems like maybe, just maybe, they're redeeming themselves, and that delay was indeed the right thing to do so they could actually release what we all want, let's face it, and that's an awesome Assassin's Creed game, and this looks like it might just be it. Roll on February. I don't know why I said that so quizzingly. Roll on February. I don't know what's going on here anymore. Okay, drum roll again. That's right, because it's the time where no week is safe from the story that continues to appear and always disappoints. Yep, it's Switch 2 rumours time. Oh, no. At this point, I'm going to dedicate a whole segment of this show every week to pointless Switch 2 rumours that have very little substance but get everyone very excited, all warm and frothy around the corners of your mouth. Yes, that's me, especially when I'm on board the hype train. So this week we saw even more craziness with Switch 2 rumours and accidental leaks. And now I'm going to put some little commas around the accidental thing because I think this is more marketing ploy by third-party companies. We saw the accidental leak by Satisfy with their Zen Grip 2 announcement for the next generation of consoles. Yeah, with an out-of-focus, blurry and totally obscured render of what the Switch 2 might look like. And then, like magic, they delete the image straight after going, oops, that was a mistake. We shouldn't have shown you that. There's just so little in this. It's so, to me, and maybe I'm being cynical. You can shoot me down in the comments if you're totally on board and think that was the Switch 2 that we saw. But to me, it just seems like a really cynical ploy by Satisfy to get people to go to their social channels, to talk about them, and maybe to head to their website and to see if they've put more information there. Basically to make sure that they stay relevant in a time where, well, let's face it, it's pretty dry for anyone making Nintendo accessories because, let's face it, the Nintendo Switches are old enough now that everyone's got their accessories. So these third-party manufacturers are kind of probably getting a bit desperate. And, you know, hats off to them because I'm talking about it now. Everyone was talking about it then. It is being talked about. So what did we see? Well, like I said, it was out of focus. It was a blurry render and it was obscured by the Zen Grip 2 logo. But what we did see was what looked like a kind of Nintendo Switch with some extra buttons under the right joystick and what looks like an even larger screen. Well, the larger screen bit definitely sits in line with all the rumours and the kind of news that we have heard about what the Switch 2 will be. So that's not really a massive surprise or a particularly wild guess by them. We're all kind of nailed on that's going to have a bigger screen. Apart from that, everything kind of looked like it was just a new version of the Switch, which is probably what it is going to be. It was blurry, it was out of focus, it was obscured behind the logo. And let's be honest about this. Do we all honestly believe that third-party manufacturers actually have access to Nintendo's best-kept secret right now? I find that incredibly far-fetched. I cannot imagine for a second that Nintendo are letting Satisfy have access to their new console ahead of launch so what, they can get their accessories ready? That doesn't make sense. Nintendo want to be selling their own stuff. They don't care about what Satisfy are doing. So this just all feels very weak, but it is hype. And you know what I'm like? I do like a bit of hype. If it means getting on board that hype train destination, unrealistic expectations, then I'm all for it. Let's go. And whilst we're in Nintendo land, let's stay there and talk about Nintendo's Magic Stick. No, that's not what you're thinking, you dirty potty mouth. No, this is Nintendo's Magic Adaptive Joysticks. Interesting. Well, we've all heard of adaptive triggers. PlayStation did a really good job with that. Well, Nintendo may have just patented the Adaptive Joystick. This got me a little bit excited. It was published over on Twitter that someone had found Nintendo's patent for adaptive joysticks. That's not exactly what they're calling it. And, you know, a lot of this has to be grains of salt because just because they've patented something doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. They patent technology all the time that never sees the light of day. And this patent was fairly recent, so I can't imagine we're going to see it in the Switch 2 yet. So maybe something for the future. But let me tell you about what it is because it does seem really exciting. Can you imagine a joystick that responds to what's happening in the game to give you a realistic feedback? As in, the resistance of that joystick will increase or decrease depending on what current is going through it. So as a player, you can feel what the character is feeling through their movements. Perhaps they're walking through something that's adding more resistance, or perhaps they're climbing and that adds a bit more resistance, and you will feel that through your thumbs with this adaptive joysticks. I want to say a big shout out to Mike Odyssey over on Twitter, who did publish this patent and did a whole long breakdown of it. There's a lot of science in there, and I don't have an IQ high enough to understand it all, which I'm guessing neither do you. That's why you're on YouTube. Or maybe I've unfairly represented you there. Let me know down in the comments if you are a scientist and you do understand this. But let me tell you what I do know. I wrote it down so I don't have to remember it. This uses a magnetic fluid inside the joystick. So when a current passes through, it can increase the resistance of that fluid. It's got a really cool name. It's magnetohorological fluid. Yeah, science. Basically, a magnetic fluid that sits inside the joystick that will respond to currents to add or remove resistance from what the joystick is giving you, which gives you the kind of illusion of feeling what the character is feeling with their movement, or perhaps it's something else. We've got to ask if it's a Nintendo, how long until WarioWare has some kind of adaptive joystick movement in it? Not long. But like I say, patents happen all the time. Nintendo are always developing technology and very little of it actually ends up getting used, but still a really cool idea and one that I'd be super excited to see in some of like maybe Nintendo's Pro controllers and how Nintendo developers would utilize that. That's just genuinely really exciting. And, you know, just awesome to see more technology being developed, which just improves the gameplay experience for us all. Anyway, let's move on to Santa delivering you some cheap Steam Decks. Yeah, and specifically Steam Deck OLEDs, because let's face it, we all want the OLED version now. How about you getting your hands on a cheaper Steam Deck OLED? Well, you're in luck, actually, just in time for Christmas, as Valve have announced refurbished Steam Deck OLEDs on the Steam store. That is amazing. Yes, refurbished Steam Deck OLEDs for around £100 cheaper at each price point in time for Christmas. Really exciting to see. The Steam Deck OLED 512 version is around $389 and the 1TB version refurbished is $459. There's about £100 off each roughly for each one. It'd be different in whatever territory you're in. Really, surely that makes a refurbished Steam Deck OLED got to be the best handheld console for value there is on the market now, surely. And that is, it's so tempting that it really does make me question whether I should be jumping in and getting myself a refurbished Steam Deck OLED. $389 for the 512 one, but very unsurprisingly, as soon as I clicked on the link, they were all out of stock. Who knows if that's just because I'm in the UK and there's very little refurbished stock, but they were all out of stock for me. I don't know what they'd be like for you. And obviously that's something to keep an eye on because I imagine the refurbished stock will be changing fairly frequently. Really exciting to see. We all love the Steam Deck here. You know we've covered it to death, but getting one for $389? Yes, please. Okay, here we are, near the end of the video, which means it's time for the big, juicy story of the week. If you've just clicked on this chapter and you've skipped all the rest of it, you missed something really exciting. But thanks for sticking with me if you've been there the whole time. Isn't your face lovely? I love your face. We're still talking about Valve. We are still talking about Steam. And is the Steam machine actually more real than we've realized? This gets me very excited because there's more and more stories now surrounding a home console from Valve, the Steam Machine 2, I guess it would be called, because we did have Steam Machines a few years back, but actually made by Valve, home console. There is a lot around this story that has come out this week that we should all be excited for, because this could be an absolute seismic shift in console gaming if this is for real. So this rumour is being fueled by Brad Lynch on Twitter. Yes, the source of all truth, the oracle that is Twitter, or X as it's known now. I hate it being called X. I still call it Twitter because I'm old school. Anyway, Project Fremont, as it's being called inside these links, is the name, the code name for a home system being developed by Valve. Oh, I'm so excited about this. It started as a few kind of gentle whispers. We heard some bits that this could be happening last week, and then this week this all came out. Head over to Twitter and have a look at Brad Lynch's feed because he's put a lot of information out there. He's constantly out there being a Valve insider. Specifically, there is specific firmware being developed for this by Valve for Project Fremont, and they're getting feedback from Quanta Computer, who are the manufacturers of the current Steam Deck, on the firmware that is being developed for this system. What's also clear from the leaks that have been put out is there's a full-sized HDMI port that is directly connected to the graphics unit or the APU of this machine, meaning that it's not a dock that's being developed. This is definitely a home PC or console of some kind that's going to attach to your TV. What's clear is that there's obviously very little information out there still, but because it's early days and this is leaks, but Valve absolutely shook up the handheld and the PC hardware space with the Steam Deck. That was a seismic change in PC gaming and in handheld gaming in general. And if Valve were really to step into the home console market, I think that would massively shake things up. Can you imagine having your home console with access to the Steam library and all of the beauty that is like the Steam big picture mode and the UI and everything? How much that would shake things up between Xbox and PlayStation as well. Primarily Xbox, I think, would be the biggest loser if Valve do step into it. Now, Valve are a small company. They're nothing compared to the size of Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. So their scalability and their ability to launch a fully competing home console is obviously limited. But I would temper that kind of negativity with how well the Steam Deck has done. Before the Steam Deck came out, we all had these kind of reservations that are Valve going to be able to support this hardware going forward? And boy, did they prove us all wrong with how well they have supported the Steam Deck with the community and all the constant updates that it's been doing, and then the kind of incremental upgrade that we saw with the OLED. They really have done wonders with that, and that's obviously grown all of our expectations as to what they're capable of. So them stepping into the home console marketplace, I'm there for it. It's something that I would absolutely be in line for day one. A home console with full access to the Steam library. Wow, that would change absolutely everything. But as we all know, I'm very easily excited and I do love shiny new things. But I'll be there day one anyway. I'd love to know what you guys think. Would you be up for a Steam machine as your home console instead of your Xbox or PlayStation? Wow. Let me know down in the comments down below what you think of that. And whilst you're down there digging around, please do like this video, subscribe to the channel because, we love you and you love us. And, the only way to prove that is with your subscription. And guess what? It's free. Isn't that great? What's not free is our channel memberships, but that does support what we do here. It's only 99p. Then you get access to our Discord as well, where you can talk to me and Andy. And talking about Andy, why not watch the latest episode of our podcast where me and Andy talk about all things gaming in a slow, calm manner that lasts about an hour. It's called a podcast. You might recognise it. It's a cool new thing. All the kids are trying it. You should try it too. Anyway, until the next time, I'll see you next time. Yeah, that's right. I learned how to do that.